Thank you so much, Your Eminence. It's always a joy to hear Your Eminence speak and to learn from Your Eminence. And with all the issues that Your Eminence mentioned at the end, we look forward to many more meetings to hear answers to these issues, God willing. We'll start with the questions. Abuna Armeya Bishara.
Salam, Sidna, kiss your hands. Your Grace always teaches us the three pillars, but considering the new generations of the Church, I think I'm a little bit worried about the second and the third pillar, because not all of the kids now in the new generation have the interest to read the patristics and know the fathers, and also the liturgical part. Now, like we feel sometimes, you know, with the overwhelming number of services that we have, the kids now start not to show up for Vespers and praises for the sake of coming Sunday school and other services more than they give value. And the parents now started to give value to the Sunday school and any other service, but maybe they give less attention to praises and Vespers and so on. So we need Your Grace to advise how we keep the second and third pillar clear in the mind of the new generations. Thank you, Sayyidina. Absolve me.
Yeah, to be included in our service and is not to be like a separate thing. And for example, in Sunday school, when we give lessons, and we can include the three, and it's not necessary now we are speaking about the Bible, now speaking the patristic, now speaking about the liturgy. And for example, if I must speak about the Old Testament, if I follow the fathers in the Old Testament, how they read the Old Testament through the New Testament. And usually we used to say, we started by the old, and because this is old, followed the new. But in the understanding of the fathers, or in the understanding of the church, is you cannot understand the Old Testament without the New Testament. You can see it in the letter of St. Paul to the Romans, you can see it in the Hebrews, you can see it to the Galatians, and how he deal with the issues like Hagar and Sarah, and in Galatians 4, and this is, what is the symbol of it, and how he interprets this story of kicking Ismail out. It is because of he cannot inherit the son of the slave to inherit with the son of the free, but he put it in the context of what talking about the importance of faith. So my point here is we have to integrate the three together. You know, if the lesson of the Sunday school or in the youth meeting, this is to be included, and people they understand the importance of the liturgies, of the praise. But if we separate, then they feel the separation. You have to choose one of them. But how can you can find if you mustn't explain the praise as it takes very theological, and if takes the Theotokiyas, and I just quoted part of the Theotokia of Friday, and I can out of it explain theosis. So you have to integrate the three together and encourage them to understand the depths of the liturgy. And I have many young people who are, they like read the Father if they put it in a good translation and easy for them. One of the challenge for reading the Father, when you read quotations, then people, when you read the Father, they just read quotations. But read the full things. And a person who mustn't heard about the incarnation of Logos as a quotation in different articles or different sermons, but never read the whole book. You find it is easier to read the whole book than to read the quotation, because you take the thinking of the Father in it. Yeah.
تسوني يوأنا.
سلام سيدنا، نقبل أيادي. كان عندي I'm sorry I will speak in Arabic because I feel more comfortable to speak in Arabic. كان عندي اقتراح سيدنا، لو الفكرة دي عملية، ليه ما نعملش سيميناري for juniors؟ يعني زي ما عندنا كليات إكليريكية للكبار، ليه ما نقدرش نفصل حاجة زي كده للجونيورز let's say بتوع مثلا هاي سكول، ويبقى منهج متفصل بدراسة بامتحانات، بس بطريقة هتبقى سيستماتيك وفيها يعني ميثودولوجي كويس، وخصوصا الشباب عندنا يعني اوريدي يعني بيذاكروا وبيحبوا الحاجات دي، فده هيبقى different شوية عن السانداي سكول curriculum، لأنه هيبقى واخد more depth شوية في الدراسة أو حاجة زي كده يعني. I don't know if it's applicable or not, but it's just a suggestion or an idea يعني.
هو we apply it regarding مثلا the junior high and high scholars في the spiritual competition. Spiritual competition which we do in the diocese, they have three parts. Part for hymns, part biblical, and part theological. And which, yeah, because it's the summer times, they can study more, so more than the Sunday school. We try to introduce, from the fathers and from the incarnation of Logos, the unity of Christ, to let them at this level. It will be explained, the servant explain to them, but to encourage them to read. And then the theological school here, they started, it's called Acts. So it's Acts for kids. So it has a special for the kids, young kids, that is to give them something small at their level, just to encourage them that one day when they go to can join the theological school. His Grace Bishop Carlos can speak more about it, but the idea is great idea. And if we put it in the form of the competition, if you do the competition, spiritual competition, or special classes in the summer. It could be special classes in the summer, and it's given them in more simplified ways.
وبس سيدنا فكرة إنه يبقى فيه سيرتيفيكت ودراسة وزي الإكليريكية بالظبط، بس يبقى حاجة يعني بنبدأ معاهم من بدري. I understand إن المهرجان الكرازة جميل وفي حاجات كتير، بس I think إنه الدراسة as a seminary هتبقى منظمة أكتر وسيستماتايز، حاجات مبنية على بعضها، بحيث إنه آخر سنتين أو 3 أو whatever بياخدوا شهادة بالظبط يعني زي اللي بيدرس في أي سيميناري يعني. This is how I think about it.
هو لو كان هو طبعا بالنسبة لهم الصيف، لأن هو غير كده مش فاضي، فهو ممكن يكون في كورسز في الصيف، فهو ياخد مثلا شهادة لأن هو ده الوقت اللي بالنسبة له أعتقد يعني مش هيقدروا أثناء السنة، يعني إن هم عنده سانداي سكول وعنده طبعا المدرسة بتاعته وعنده كل الحاجات دي. فلو كان الانتنسيف كورسز دي، طبعا لما اتكلمت على spiritual competition على اساس this is the summer time، يعني I spoke about the summer time، but يعني ممكن تكون في صورة courses، يعني بقول الايديا it could be done and ممكن either a competition or either a certificate، يعني something they feel they will be examined about it عشان to take it seriously، انه بياخد في امتحان ده ممكن يكون يعني like in any school أو كان في صورة الكومبيتيشن.
Thank you, Sayed.
Michael Nicola.
Hi, Sayedna. Thank you so much for your eminence time. I want first I want to second Abuna Armea's concerns about the youth and the separation between the liturgical part and the patristic part and the services. Thank God the new Sunday school curriculum has a part of liturgical, part patristic, so it's integrated already. What your eminence is suggesting, we're starting to do The diocese has posted the new curriculum, but unfortunately, we have a problem where the older generations, the older, meaning the high school, the ones that are no longer interested in Sunday school, they're no longer interested in a lot of things about the church. They are growing up, they have their own cars, they have their freedom, and there's a challenge. So what's your eminent suggestions about how to kind of rekindle the love for the liturgy, for the praises, both in the adults, the young adults, and the and for the youth? That's number one. Number two, our Lord Jesus Christ said it, that the الحصاد كتير والفعل قليلون, the harvest and the laborers. So your eminence is emphasized the point about Orthodox service, that it needs to include people outside the church, people outside the faith, and unfortunately, the struggle is the service itself is the servants are very few. I mean, in the land of immigration. I don't think the challenge is the same in Egypt, and I'm not sure about every church situation, but it's real, because young adults here are busy with their lives, and the younger generation, they start off very eager to serve and very fiery servants, and then they go to college, and then they drop out and they start their lives, and then it's a challenge to bring them back. So these are the two challenges that if your eminence can comment or give us a few tips about. Thank you so much.
Number one, we have to consider this almost 1 year of the pandemic definitely affected to the service and affected people coming to the church. We have to consider this, whether this is factor, or at least one of the factors. The second thing is the youth, because we are in changeable society, we have to find a ways, different methods, develop the methods which you can reach to them. This society, based on the change, they get bored quickly. احنا اتعودنا when you do something you repeat it, but here they don't want it, don't something new at all level. مثلا in Egypt مثلا احنا اتعودنا الكوفي هي معروفه في الكوفي اما في بشجر او without شجر، وبعدين طلع النسكافيه. تعالى هنا بقى اتفرج، تلاقي مثلا why Starbucks is successful, because always coming with something new, and people try to have a new things. The same also, you can apply it in many things here. And this mentality affects the service. So we cannot bring a new faith for them or new values, of course. But we can develop the ways we can reach to them, how to present it to them. And this is the creativity. And the servant should be creative if connected with them, and to feel what is the things which. And for example, we started to have conventions. They use very enthusiastic for the convention. We are coming together. وكان مثلا his whole أنبا موسى وأنبا توماس يجوا الناس are waiting for their visits. Now, if you call for convention, you find few people, few used to attend. But there are other things. And مثلا they prefer more a small convention or a small meeting at the level of one church or two churches more. So, okay, folks said, okay, we can have a convention even with limited number, but why not to do this? spiritual competition كان في enthusiasm ليها, and then the enthusiasm is becoming to fade, Gregor. So we start to a new idea to integrate the spiritual competition with the basketball league, and so on. Yani, what I'm saying here, one of the challenges which are facing in serving the youth, they get bored very easily, and they want to change. Maybe this is something which we can, or some issues which they are facing and they feel is not addressed in the church. But they feel they're not connected with the church. Like, definitely, this age is always, not only in America, but also in Egypt and any place. That is one of the challenge of the service, and God always give creativity on that. بالنسبة لليوث والinteraction بتاعت اليوث. What are the second question?
It's about that the harvest is plenty and the laborers are few.
Yes.
And we're struggling with the
So and I think that is we can now organize the service and try to benefit from the time. Maybe you don't have the servant who in call all the time, but we have some servant, he can give you 1 hour. Other مثلا now they are free, but they will be busy next year. But we need some efforts, like a management of time. Servant volunteers. But volunteers don't, they when get busy with other things, they will be busy. But we can adapt, and we can benefit from the time which they can afford. Secondly, because of different kind of service, and there are people can come to the Sunday school, but some of them they are not, but they can go in a missionary trip and can help on that, or can مثلا in diaconia or service of the community. We widen the idea of service. We don't limit the service ان هي بس Sunday school انك انت تبقى servant or to teach. There are other things which people can do. But we can benefit from a new generation. مثلا people مثلا getting retired now. Here مثلا few people, they are retired but they're still healthy, still active. We can benefit from them. Yeah, they are here for a long time. They understand it, and now they are retired. So this group of people, I can benefit from them. So I look to I widen the meaning of the service, and I prepare servants from all level, and you will find people who are willing to help. But the traditional way اللي هي ان في servant who is انا مثلا كنا واحد يشتغل finish the work at 2 p.m. take lunch, sleep مثلا for 1 hour, and then have the whole evening free. You don't find this here. Mm-hmm. Even in Egypt, it's becoming a challenge too. Nas working 2 jobs, working in the afternoon for the private sector. We have to find a way to benefit from the time which is available from these people. And في ساعات youth بيجي يقولوا أنا I have time, I want to serve. We have to be ready. بس هو عنده time مثلا for 1 year. Mm-hmm. And after that we'll get busy. في مثلا زي between finishing مثلا the graduates undergraduate مثلا finish the 4 years And before to go to graduate school like law school or medical school, they have مثلا 1 year. They can do things in this 1 year. After that, if they join the law school, they have no time at all for anything. Yeah. We can try in this way.
Thank you, Sayyidina.
Clara Bachit.
Hi, Sayyidina. Thank you so much again for speaking to us. I actually have 2 questions, if you don't mind. The first one is that you know, it's getting harder and harder to just have this unity with Christ, like you're saying. You're saying that we need to be united with Christ and to attain wisdom, but it's really harder because of everything that it's handing down to us. For example, we have access to everything now with our phones, with computers, with everything. I just, you know, I don't understand how can we be united with Christ. I mean, we can read and we can pray and all of this, but sometimes it's even reading doesn't necessarily mean that we can be united with Christ. And that's what I started to realize that. And also sometimes my prayers becomes dry, and I hope if you can explain more deeply how to be united with Christ and just, you know, have wisdom. And my second question is, in Ecclesiastes, it says, do not be overly righteous, nor be overly wise. Why should you destroy yourself? So my question, I mean, how can overly wise, how can you, when you become overly wise, how does that become a destruction of the self? Thank you again, your grace. Thank you.
Yeah, for the first questions, to be united with Christ, to build a personal relationship with Christ. And this is, and we can take the prayer, and that we pray, but how we go in the depths of the prayer, to feel that's when when I pray, I speak to Christ in trust. And this is lead me to some of the prayer which I continue in thinking of Christ all the day, like the short prayers. And then the reflections. And we can read, but we have to reflect. And that's why we need quiet time for our life. And out of this busy, as you mentioned, Tuli, and we are busy with many things. But we are missing the time when we sit with ourselves. And in this Sunday about the prodigal son, when he returned to himself. And then he started to think. But if we assign a time which we be away from anything, just to sit in quietness and reflecting on Christ and his love for us, how to kindle the love to him. When we realize his love, as is mentioned, we love him because he loved us first. To reflect on this, to reflect what is the importance of Christ in my life. And I always ask myself, why I want to be united with Christ? Why? Is it because just we have to, or because I feel the need of this united? Then how I look to the Eucharist, because the Eucharist is when I receive Christ. How I prepare myself to the Eucharist, and after I take a communion, and sometimes we take communion and even forget. This day we took communion. This day like any other day. As I really feel when I take communion. So I need to work on that in my life, to be able to and ask God to. And this is, he offered himself to us. Ask God to reveal himself to us, to you, everyone, and that's to feel this this love. And read about also stories of people who lived in completely dedicated their life to Christ, and how the hermit who stay away from everything, they find something which keeps them alone in this time without getting any depression or any difficulties. Regarding the wisdom, maybe not to be over wise, speaking about the wisdom of this world. When the people think that is the wisdom of this world or the education of this world to make the person is real wise, which can affect it, because some people, because of the great knowledge, which is not accompanied by growth in their spiritual life, it leads them to be arrogant and even to be deviate. And the great heretics, there was also a great scholars and a great mind. Reading knowledge taken from the wisdom of this world may lead to the person to destroy himself or herself. So we have to balance, or even within the spiritual life. And if I take myself, the spiritual life is just reading, I read books and I study the Bible, but without application of my life, I destroy myself, because I turned it ان انا like واحد study anything. يعني واحد مثلا study about the pharaonic مثلا civilization and can be scholar in hieroglyphic in all the pharaohs, names of the pharaohs, but how this applied in life has nothing to do with the life. It's different things. واحد مثلا دخل museum, he lived in the history, but he went out to completely different world. But if I take the spiritual life in this way, or the theology in this way, or the Bible in this way, I'm destroying myself.
George and Mariam.
Salam ya Sayyidina. I know relate to the point you talked about for adapting the Orthodox faith in our community, because the culture here is a little different than the culture in Egypt. I know you, Sayyidina, had a hard time for when you allow something for Christmas time in your diocese. I don't know what to ask about this, but does this affect your intention to do something to adapt it to the culture here in US, or you will continue to have something? Thank you, Sayyidina.
هو يعني the issue of Christmas يعني طبعا هو is misunderstood and exaggerated a little bit because يعني people concerned this is a step to move to 25th and things. لكن what is important than this هو ان احنا we have many other issues. يعني the idea انه whether you agree or don't agree on what we are applying here, this is more important than that. And now we are facing many other issues, and we have to find a way to address these issues, because ignoring a problem will not solve the problem, or denying the problem. And we find people just leaving because they find that is the churches they not care for that. But as I said, we are facing in America two different movements against each other. Number one, the increasing of the number of people coming from Egypt. And these people, they love the church, and they want to come here to United States to find that the church here is just a copy or replica of their church in Egypt. Enough for them, a different society, but when come to the church, I need the church is like it. Even sometimes we have troubles, and no, in their church, in Shubra or in Sohag, they do the hymns in this way, but they come here to find different, don't problems. At the same time, now, after about 50 years of the service in the United States, and now people, they want this new second, third generation. They want to see they love the Coptic Orthodox Church, but they don't want to see their church like a foreign body in the society. Like we are in Egypt, we are proud that our Coptic church is a real Egyptian church. And it is deeply integrated in the American in the Egyptian society. And we are always proud of that. And we proud that is His Holiness Pope Shenouda, he said that is Egypt is not a place to live in, but it lives inside us. And we everybody quote Pope Shenouda on that, Muslims and the Christians. But again, there are people here also in America who are members of the Coptic Church. They want to say the same things regarding America. And we as a church, we have to serve both. I cannot say you are coming from Egypt, no, we're not responsible for you, or you are growing here, you are not responsible. Then that is the challenge in front of the church, how the church can respond for all these needs. The only answer is the varieties. The varieties. That's why, like you see now churches which is focusing more on dealing the cultural things, which you call it English churches, American churches, missionary churches, whatever the name you call it. But this is the only solution. Like the liturgies, when we have first one liturgy, now we have English liturgy and Arabic liturgy. Why? Because there is a need here, there is need. The same also you can apply to the feast. And there are many people who don't have any problem in 7th of January, have no problem with that. There are people, some of them, and there are different ways that is the church responding to it. Some churches just make the liturgy early. So we ended by, some churches ended at 6 p.m. That's one solution. Some feel, no, we have to end after midnight as we used to do, and so on. So how to solve this? This is the issue. And the church, how to respond to this different pastoral needs, which are existing because we have different groups and different needs, and I cannot ignore the need of the people. Monken solution, which is not the ideal solution. When I said this is not the ideal solution. Maybe there's another solution for it. And I didn't say that is even within the diocese, not everybody needs this. It's not permission for everyone. And you can apply for other things. And that is why I said, one of the major issues, which is how we can smoothly and rightly express our Orthodox faith in the American culture. If we want our church to remain, if we want our Coptic church to serve a certain generation and that's it, then we don't need to bother ourselves of this issue of the culture. If we want the church to continue and to be a part of this society and to remain, we have to do And I believe, you know, this generation who grow up here from Coptic parents, this is the best generation to do this process. Not me, but this generation. We have to open for them the chance to do it, because they have both of them. They grow up in a families which deeply in the church, came deeply involved in the church, and of course they are deeply involved in this society where they live. فنو yes يعني بالنسبة للريزيستنت أنا I don't care for that, because I know يعني I understand the people and their يعني why they are resisting, and people different and they respond, and يعني, and I know that not everything people will agree on it. I know very well, but it never changed my mind. إنه يعني I believe إنه our church to continue as our church in Egypt continued, and how to move from a church of immigrants, because we came to serve immigrants, to be a church for citizens, and have to be real Orthodox and real American, both. And this is the future. That's why when we started American Coptic churches, I didn't say there are two parallel systems. No. Yes, two systems had to converge to one point. What is the point? Is to be every church is to real American and real Orthodox. This is the future.
Thank you, Your Eminence. There's another question, but we just want to be mindful of Your Eminence's time. So you still, Your Eminence still
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Kyrillos Hanna?
Hi, Sayyidina. I hope you are well, and all of you are well. I just have two things to share with you. First thing, that I see the problem in the service is in that our servants make or the servants make for the high school and the middle school, make the servant or the Sunday school is like a class in the school, and it's very boring, just some slides and going forward, and that's it, which there is no introduction like in Egypt, which I really faced many problems with this pouring system. I think this point made most of the kids don't like the Sunday school, or see that the Sunday school is like the church, same system, and also same points. We give them points to know the verse. We give them points to know the Coptic and hymns, which is make me confused. Where's the difference between the school and the Sunday school? This is one thing. I think we have to change our ways and make something different. The second thing is, you said, your holy said, we have to serve both of generations, but I don't see that we serve both of the generation. I see that there's focus on some groups or the American groups, and we know by nature that the Egyptian group will grow and will be fine, but that's not true. We are missing many things. So and I recommend or I suggest two things. First, we need to focus on these Egyptian youth, because they have a lot of troubles, and nobody know about it. There's I see this one or this problem a lot. Second, I want to ask you, how can I keep the Coptic culture in my class? I don't want the American culture in my class. I want to keep the Coptic culture in my class. And last question, how can the parents treat or explain everything wrong in this society to the children? And that's it, Sayedna. Thank you.
Well, you are right. That is the groups of coming from Egypt, whether parent or youth, they need service. And assuming, because they came from Egypt, they are in high spiritual level. This is not true. Coming to another society have a bigger challenge, and many who come, they don't even involved in a church. And we have people coming from Egypt. They don't know anything about the church because they don't used to go to the church. And there's a lot of problems among the new immigrants and among the youth. That's why we have a special meeting for the youth, Arabic, meeting in Arabic, because their challenge are different. And if someone come here in his 20s, working, single, or family just is moving, or family who are moving in older age, they have. So I agree with you 100%. In these groups need a special service and not assuming it. And sometimes we feel the youth who grow up here is more committed to the church than the youth who's coming from Egypt. And once I was attending a retreat in the winter for the English youth. And after that, the Arabic, يعني two separate retreat. ففي every retreat كان في time for midnight praise and time for another night for entertainment, حفلة summer يعني. I noticed in the English one, the night of the midnight praise, many youth attending, girls, boys attending. ولما جات النايت بتاعت الانترتينمنت is very few and they don't do good things يعني. It's the opposite بقى. When I did in the Arabic, I find حفلة السمر دي ليها very popular. They are very creative في حفلة السمر بتاعتهم. بينما في التسبيحة the number of people who attending was so limited يعني. Maybe it just happened accidentally, but it's give you يعني indication إنه everyone is need to help. خاصة إنه in Egypt now there is a change in the society. The Egyptian society, the Coptic society is a change, and you can look if you know Arabic and you follow what is in the social media, you saw how the moral level is very low for the Copts. The language they use, the attacks they do, is something was very sad to see. Christians to do like this يعني. فده بالنسبة للساندي سكول طبعا يعني I think the important thing is the servant. يعني what is the relationship between the servant and the kids who are servant? Because it's take them as يعني teacher يبقى زي class. But servant is more than that. يعني care for everyone, to know their name, visit them, follow them. It's not just to give slides and nice lessons, very attractive, and that's it. But this is not the service. The service is a pastoral care, is a pastor of the pastor. And we remember our servant, not because of the lessons they give to us, but the relationship, caring for us. That is what we, if I remember one of my Sunday school teacher now, I never remember any of them of a certain lesson. But I remember some of them who cared for me in my service. But this is important for the service.
Abuna Maurice. We can't hear you, Abuna.
أبونا بيصلي صلوات سرية.
So هو بيترجم بالعربي ف I don't know what's
كان في سؤال قاله نسيت اجاوبه بتاع الكالتشر ده. يعني you have to differentiate between the values and the culture. يعني what do you بيقول يعني يقول I want to keep the Egyptian culture in my class. يعني have to be clear. What do you mean by the culture? Because there are values which is very important. And but these values, because we as a Christians, not because of the Egyptian culture. The same also in the American culture. There are many things which are bad things in the American culture which we avoid. That's why when we speak American, we don't mean to take everything in the American or in the American culture is better than the Egyptian culture. We are not saying that. But we are saying that is you are living in a different society, then you have to deal with it and take what is good in it and leave what is bad. And if you are something which is good there, it's good. But when it comes to the church is not promoting a certain culture. The church is promoting the Christian faith and the Christian values. And we believe that these values is not related to certain culture, but it is related to being Christians. But if مثلا we say that is, and there is no relation before marriage, مثلا, this is not an Egyptian or American. It is a Christian. So you find among the Egyptians, they have a relationship outside marriage. You have among American people who believe they no relationship except in the marriage. But we take it not because this is Egyptian, this is American, because it is a Christians. Because in the Egyptian culture, there are many things which non-Christians, they are polygamy, divorce. But the church kept this when it comes to related to the religion or related to our Christian faith, they rejected. So we lived among as Egyptian, but with our Christian values. The same so here. We are not saying that is introduce the American things, yani, to follow everything in the American, because there are many bad things in the American culture, in the American society, and we have to avoid it. Like we have the same things in Egypt, but assuming in في certain society is holy and certain society is evil. This is a wrong assumption. It's a wrong assumption. This, in every society, there are good people, there are bad people. There are good values, there are bad values, and so on. يعني مثلا هنا ممكن lying مثلا. في ناس consider lying this is a big thing. How you هنا يقول لك you promised me. في culture تاني lying this is something very easy. يعني يعني كلمة إن شاء الله مثلا، إن شاء الله دي كلمة nice word, God willing, it's good thing. But sometimes in culture it's saying, instead of saying no, you say إن شاء الله. But this is a polite way to say no, but إن شاء الله is not no. If you know it is no, you have to say no. And so on. يعني ففي حاجات كده إنه يعني ممكن الريسبكت مثلا، ممكن الريسبكت maybe in a different way. يعني people consider the respect not to argue, not to ask. But people think there's nothing against the respect to ask or to challenge مثلا, to challenge the teacher, to challenge the priest, to challenge the bishop and something he is saying. They don't consider this a disrespect. You know, he is saying something and you find that is not, you think it is not true, and you ask, you know, I feel this is let's say, so I don't, so some people consider this is a disrespect. We're not used to do this.
Abuna Maurice's question, he sent it via chat. How can you attract Americans to pray as much as we are used to? They are eager to learn about the church, but don't show the same level of enthusiasm and dedication. The most they would do is come once every now and then, and that's it.
Well, and I cannot generalize and put Americans general, because many youth who are Americans, and they are very committed to and come and attend the Holy Week. يعني one of the two issues كانت الكنيسة facing at the beginning of service, إنه what the Coptic Church will do for the Holy Week. Can we have a Good Friday from 9 to 6 مثلا in America or in Europe? Now, after about 50 years, what is the result? Yani the church decide to continue. So what is the outcome of it? You find many who are American youth or adult, yani, they come, but when the church make a translation, when they teach them the hymns, فهم they can participate. فما تلاقي مثلا في الكنايس انه كل واحد جايب الكتاب دلوقتي مع الكوبتيك ريدر، انه they can follow easily. Before مثلا الهولي ويك ده، حتى في in Egypt قبل ال 90s كان قبل كده كذا بوك، يعني بوك للاكسبوزيشن، بوك للكذا، بوك للكتامارس. فمين ده اللي هيجي الكنيسه شايل لايبرري؟ ففي سنه I think 83 اول كتاب طلع للبصخه عملته كنيسه تكل هيمانوت in Alexandria، انه they put everything in one book. انك انت you can come to the church have one book you can follow. ده كانت بريك ثرو في بالنسبه للناس ان هي to follow. When a translation happening, we took the idea and then we make a book. When you can have a book, when you have English, Arabic, and Coptic, and come to the church, so people can follow. Then is improved for translation in English, but then now it is becoming in your phone, become في screen. نتيجة كده الناس حضرت. The same also for the liturgy. If they come to the liturgy and they don't follow anything, they don't understand, of course, they will not continue. We have to let them participate. لأنه هو يعني they used when attend something to participate. احنا مثلا كنا متعودين انه يعني you attend you listen. المعلم والشمامسه بيقولوا وابونا بيصلي وفي الديكون بيرد respond وفي معلم بره، المعلم هو اللي بيقول الالحان. طب والشعب بيعمل ايه؟ بيسمع، بس هو مش متعود كده. يعني هو لو كان مثلا كونفرت جاي لنا من كنيسه تانية، كان بيروح كنيسته مثلا كله فاتح الكتب وبيقول يعني ساي، وبعدين الالحان مثلا بيعملوها على الميوزك مثلا، انه يعني easily to learn it. فاحنا مثلا كان we developed انه الالحان دي ممكن واحد يقرا فيقدر يقول. فwhen they participate عشان كده مثلا تلاقي الشمامسه، مثلا الشماس اللي لابس شماس، العيال اللي هم participate، ما بيحس ليه بيحضر القداس ويجي بدري ويلبس وبتاع، ليه؟ لانه فاهم وبارتيسيبيت. لو واحد تاني مش فاهم مش قادر يقعد.
Mina Hanna.
Thank you, Sayyidina. A quick question. I think we have an issue in the sense of we're having many lead servants or older servants who are leading the service, but with the mentality of Egypt from back when they arrived from Egypt. So neither we have the modern service right now that it's happening in Egypt, nor we are integrated into the culture to adapt new service that's specifically for the culture itself. So with something like this, with a challenge like this, what is your advice so that we can help also integrate the newer youth that's coming up into the American culture?
And for the Sunday school, if you're speaking about Sunday school, because the Sunday school, whether the kids are coming from Egypt or go up here, they ended to be all English. يعني مقدرش تعمل Sunday school Arabic and English. فلازم الليدرز يبقى المنتال يعني understand the mentality and cultural here. The servant who came helped, but they have to give a chance. يعني now we have a growing number of servants, whether يعني males or females, who are grow up here. So they don't have accent. They can easily communicate, and they can adapt for the new ways of communications. And we have to give them the leadership. And I feel our generation have to know that this is the future, and gives them a leadership. So in a church, if there is growing number of the servants, maybe by time they take leadership at level of, if يعني big church في مثلا the family of the elementary, of the مثلا junior high and high school. يعني why we in the position, if one is in the position not to change. يعني فكرة اللي change, change is good, and not necessarily إنه and this is means something negative of the person. مثلا عندنا leader مثلا. Now after مثلا 5 years, one of the servant becomes the leader instead of him or her. مش لازم عمل مشكلة، لكن هو يرحب بكده. يعني لأن this is a life، جيل ورا جيل فيك يعني. فبكده بنعمل replacement، ويبقى هما موجودين زي consultant. يعني واحد مثلا change his position، يعني they need help، بس they give them the chance to take a responsibility. فأنا يعني أنا بعمل كده، يعني بقول كنايس أقول خلاص مش معقول مثلا حد قاعد مثلا 20 سنة 25 سنة، يعني هيجي له أرترسكلروزس في مخه. واحد يعني في حاجة اسمها problem of success، يعني ما تكون ناجح في حاجة ساعات مش you live on this success فما ما بتفكرش في change because you live in the history, your history. You don't feel the changes. And that's why the importance of a change يعني يبقى في replacement وفي leadership. مش لازم واحد يستنى لحد ما التاني يموت عشان يبقى مكانه. ليه؟ يعني why we have to wait until مثلا أمين الخدمة لما to pass away عشان يجي أمين خدمة تاني، أو مش قادر يجي الكنيسة. ليه؟ ده يجي وينبسط إن أولاده now they take leadership وهو زي consultant ليهم، زي الأب بيفرح إن أولاده they are now they taking responsibility. وهنا يعني الواحد في سنه في التوينتيز والثيرتيز ده يعني بيبقى واخد great achievement في السوسايتي يعني. فالتوينتي والثيرتيز ده يعني مش عيل يعني، لا ده شخص بيبقى يعني ليدر في شغله.
Chris Mikhail.
Thank you for your time. There's a current concern in regards to the way society is in the school, specifically teaching the kids, and especially like offering, for example, like sex education at an earlier age. But rather we come to the church and we have to play catch up. We have to صلح اللي بيعلموها برا. ودي طبعا يعني مشكلة كبيرة. So how can and it makes the atmosphere awkward in our Sunday school classes and so on. So what is your guys' like recommendation of like the best approach in regards to, for example, this type of education or the education of dating and so on? Like how can we approach this better?
And we consider this is an important issue, and to move from just to react in what is they are doing in the schools, and we have a counter things in our teaching, either in the Sunday school or in the youth meeting or in writing, when we explain it in the right way. So they find a replacement. We cannot prevent the school. We will try as we can against this, but there is unfortunate trend and is moving from state to state. And the only things which you can do is to have a counter to it. A counter in a more proactive things. يعني we can يعني طبعا ممكن في السكول مثلا الكيدز يعني البيرنت prevent مثلا their kids from to attend these classes. ممكن they have the right, but they may be more eager to know what is said in these classes which their parent prevented them to attend. So that's why they want to know, and we can offer them to know in a right way. Maybe special classes about this, just to explain it in a way which suitable to the age. مثلا الissue of gender مثلا احنا we have to address it again. انه مثلا like يعني كل شويه يعني every time يطلع لنا حاجه مثلا homosexuality, transgender, and how we can address, we have to address it, and we have to address it in the right way, and we يعني stand on these issues. Plus we are trying in the political area and to resist as we can in cooperation with other people who are concerned about what is going on. زي مثلا Equality Act and these things. We have to try. We can succeed, we cannot succeed. لكن ساعات بيبقى فيه confusion because they present these things in a very deceiving way. And the angry responses will not win. Because they know that is, we will respond it in an angry way. And we lose. But it's a big challenge because it is presented in very deceiving ways. Well, equality, had against equality. يقول لك انت against equality. طبعا مين against equality? But what behind what they are saying, this is another thing.
Thank you again, Your Eminence, for the wonderful lecture and taking the time to answer all the questions and enlightening us. And thank you, Ambakrilos, for joining us. It's nice to see your Grace with us as well.
Thanks, Sayyidina, so much for the time and the very important lecture, and the spirituality, theology, the depth in it. We enjoyed it very much, Sayyidina. طبعا, welcome to His Grace Bishop Carlos. We enjoyed just seeing his angelic face on the screen.
We were praying together today at a new church, a new building for Holy Cross Church. By the way, we ordained John subdeacon today. John, he is in.
Congratulations, Sayyidina.
Congratulations. Houston.
Congratulations, Sayyidina.
Thank you. subdeacon.
الخطوة اللي بعدها دي تعيش ترسم يا سيدنا.
أولادك دول أولادك.
لا يا سيد، احنا كلنا اولاد نيافتك يا سيد.
هو ابونا اندرو كمان برضه من هيوستن.
ابونا اندرو من هيوستن برضه يا سيد.
يعني عينة طيبة. لو في حد تاني ممكن تبعتوا لنا.
انا عايزين برضه يا سيدنا نيافتك تباركنا بشوية من ولادك يعني.
تعيش سيدنا.
تعيش سيدنا. لو نيافتك تختم لنا يا سيدنا بالبركة.
نخلي بقى الأنبا كلس.
اتفضل سيدنا.
بعد إذنك.
طبعا. اتفضل سيدنا.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.